Roki Sasaki debuted. 56 pitches total from Roki, 3 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, 3 strikeouts, and 5 walks. He was feeling it in the very beginning of the game. The first inning, he was only 99 and 100. I mean, rounding up from 98 point whatever, but sitting 99, 100. It ended up ticking down a couple miles per hour on the heater, but he was feeling it in the first, and then eventually mixing in that splitter, which goes in, a variety of directions, right? It can break down to the right, it can break down to the left, which is not common for someone with a splitter like that. So it's got the most drop already in Major League Baseball, about 3.5 feet. It's got the least spin, at least according to what we've been able to track so far in spring training. We did see a little bit of nerves, just like Yamamoto last year in his debut in Korea. Obviously, he figured it out, so everyone's in good shape.
Any word on Roki Sasaki today? I mean, I know he had a little inning where he struggled a little bit. I thought he might have just nibbled a little bit much, but the stuff was there. The stuff was electric. What are you hearing about how excited they are about his debut in Tokyo?
Cam, they're excited, and I can't speak to their reactions necessarily to what happened today, but in general, they see him as a project. They see him as a guy that is not going to be a finished product right away, someone who is going to develop as the season goes on and as his career goes on. Clearly, as you mentioned, the raw stuff is there. The split is pretty incredible. So it's a matter of acclimating him to the Major League game, to the American culture, the North American culture, and of course, getting to the point where he can be the kind of pitcher that everyone projects him to be. He showed flashes of that today. There's no question about it. And he's going to be good from every indication, but he's not, again, a finished product, and it's going to take some work to get him to the point where they want him to be. Remember, he's only 23. He hasn't pitched all that much, and there's a full career ahead of him.
When you talk about that project, Ken, today, I was extremely encouraged. Did you get a chance to see his slider today? His slider was an elite pitch as well as the splitty. I know he talked about the fastball splitty, and a lot of people wonder, did he have enough repertoire to, do it at the big league level? But today there was a slider that was, lights out. What have you heard anything on that projection or progress?
Yeah, he's been working on that. And Cam, you guys know this, he's going to need a third pitch. And the slider, if it can be that for him, my goodness, then he becomes a little bit different of a pitcher than he was in Japan, and it makes a huge difference, especially in the major leagues. So, yes, that was something very notable out of his start today, and I expect that that's going to be something he works on developing as the season goes on and his career goes on.
This whole thing about, can Roki Sasaki develop a third pitch? Can he develop another pitch? Because he's essentially a two-pitch guy. Well, today we were coming in watching the game. He threw some wicked sliders that showed me immediately he's working on his stuff. And also, too, there was an inning, I don't know if it was the third, fourth, or fifth, where he lost it. I think he had a few walks, but it was just as simple as just trying to be too fine. Once his feet get settled under him and he realized that that stuff plays in the zone, that dude is going to be lights out. Then you saw Kirby Yates. Just so many weapons, so many ways to beat you. And I heard you talking about him this morning, Scotty. Tommy Tanks, right? He has picked up right where he left off. Again, no Mookie, no Freddie, no problem. The Dodgers are so deep, such quality at-bats, and the pitching rotation is insane. So Dodgers fans have a lot to be excited about right now.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. We talked about the pitch, the knuckle, the guillotine, whatever you want to call it, his splitter. Something that Japanese pitchers do really well, and he's no different. Yes, he's 23 years old, I get that, is they learn how to manipulate that pitch. To me, what he's going to learn with so much movement is how to manipulate it the way that is best for the situation. He's facing a righty. He doesn't want that thing dipping down and into a righty. It's going to be giving him the best chance. Maybe the guy pulls off the ball. He's able to manipulate that finger, maybe not split it quite as much on the fork and make it more of like a splitter that's going to dive and drop away. He's going to learn because his mechanics are so repeatable, and he hasn't really thrown that many innings. As far as, yes, he's a 23-year-old, and yes, he's been, I think, in professional baseball for 5 seasons now over in Japan. He hasn't thrown that many innings, so he needs those reps, and it'll only improve. Is it going to happen this year? I don't know. 5 walks, quite a few walks.
Around the horn is too like lowbrow.
Oh,
You know, yeah.
he had to win intellectual mind with you on Dodger Debate.
I still don't like the title of this show.
Hello and welcome back to Dodger Debate. One more time here from Tokyo, Japan, and I'm going to call this the Tokyo Dome Club because we've upgraded our seating tonight, Dylan. The Dodgers just defeated the Chicago Cubs once again to complete a 2-game sweep. They win 6-3 on a night that Roki Sasaki made his MLB debut. Quite a debut it was for 3 innings. ShoheiOhtani hit a home run, his first in an MLB game back here in Japan, and the Dodgers are going home with a perfect record, even though they didn't have Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman in either of these games. Freddie Freeman didn't play again today. Dylan, what stuck out to you about tonight's game, about this trip, and just kind of where the team is at right now as they go back stateside?
Cubs really suck. They're a terrible baseball team.
We've watched 18 innings. We've talked about Japan is being painted blue, and your first takeaway is that the Cubs aren't any good. We knew. We knew that. We watched all of last year.
But this is like Globetrotters and bringing on like the Washington. What do they call them?
Geez,
What are
the Generals.
Generals, man. Like, I mean, at least like bring somebody to put up a fight. You know, I know. I mean, I guess they were they were hoping for Buster Douglas to strike light, you know, catch the lightning in a bottle again.
I think they were hoping for Roki Sasaki to knock himself out. Actually, was kind of the game plan tonight.
Okay, but in all seriousness, I mean, look, this is, you know, we can kind of get into all the little things that are going to kind of decide where this season goes, you know. But the one thing, you know, to me is that at the end of the day, this was about Ohtani, right? Ohtani is the reason why this week was as big as it was. You know, Ohtani is the reason all this advertising exists here, right? Ohtani is the reason, again, you know, and I think at the end of the day, you could tell, right? The fans were here to see Ohtani, right? When he got intentionally walked that one time in an obvious, you know, empty base situation, the fans were very upset. They were here to watch Ohtani hit a home run.
They were upset when he got walked in an unobvious situation later by accident in the 9th inning.
Yeah, and you know, to me again, right, and the fact that he could, like, in that type of environment, right, knowing everybody's kind of here to watch him hit a home run, to actually be able to hit a home run, that's kind of what makes this guy special, I think, right? And again, you know, I think various sports, you know, certain sports, it's kind of, right, you have a basketball superstar, it's easier to kind of build a marketing thing around him. You know how it's going to go for the most part, unless the guy suffers like a devastating injury, right? Sure. You know, baseball is kind of one sport where it's tough, right? Because performances kind of fluctuate. You look at the All-Star team on a year-to-year basis, the turnover on these things is kind of crazy from year to year, right? You know, you check out an All-Star team from like 4 or 5 years ago. These guys are, you know, some of these guys are at the end of benches now just because, again, a little injury just kind of changes things. And the fact that you can kind of have this presence like this, right? I mean, it's kind of, you got to go back to, you know, Mike Trout when he had that stretch before he started getting injured. Before that, maybe like Barry Bonds, you know. But I think in both of those cases, you know, in Trout's case, you probably had
Albert Pujols,
right player in the wrong market, you know. And, you know, you could argue, obviously, Ohtani earlier in his career was also in the wrong market. Yeah, because, I mean, if Ohtani's playing with the Angels, this isn't happening either. You know, it's the right player, right personality. Because,
it's not happening like this.
Right, yeah. You know, and so, to me, it just kind of, again, but it all, in the end, all these things, right? The fact that, you know, people think Ohtani's good looking or that he's charismatic or whatever it is. None of these things matter if he doesn't hit. And the fact that he can kind of continually create moments, to me, is just kind of, you know, I know we've talked about this. I mean, we were talking about this just a few days ago, right? I mean, this is just kind of, it's getting almost boring to talk about, but it's true. He just keeps doing the same thing, which is why I'm going to write the same column that I wrote 4 days earlier.
Inside how our night was going, Dylan did stop himself tonight mid-story. He goes, damn it. I'm like, what? He's like, I'm plagiarizing myself from 2 days ago. But, I mean, it's true. I think it's even on like a game-to-game basis, right? I think one of the problems like baseball has being sold to a national audience, you know, as some sort of national TV product, some appointment viewing thing, is that even like players who are consistently good year over year over year it's hard to know when those moments will happen. You know, like well, this is why like Sunday Night Baseball's tough, because you just like you throw it on and it's just kind of random what's going to happen in any one game. And that's what is really interesting about this guy, especially over the last year now with the Dodgers, is just how consistently, like you said, he has delivered in these moments, and how, you know, he can. Dave Roberts described him as like a superhero tonight, and it's because it's just something that you don't see with players who can just tap into this mode where, again, tonight, like he comes up to the plate for the first time and you tap me, you go, well, he's going to swing first pitch here, because he's trying to make it happen. And usually in baseball, I think we've talked about this last year, when you try harder, it typically is going to lead to worse performance. He's like the one player who can try harder on demand and also deliver the results. And it made for like one of the coolest moments, I think, of this whole week, him hitting that home run. Right,
and that's the thing too. Baseball, you're kind of limited by the at bat, right? I mean, you can't, you know, Luka Doncic has an bad shooting night. Well, you can just keep shooting more, right. And as a fact, you know, even if Luka's shooting,
and he will,
right? Yeah, right. And he'll still score like 25 points, and you know, as a fan, you're like, well, I got to see Luka Doncic scores 25 points.
Right.
And you're right to your point. So many times, I think you kids, right, ask their parents, take me to a game, and it costs so much money these days, and you go, and your favorite player is like 0 for 3 with a walk. Yeah, it's cool that you got to see him, but you would rather see this. And everybody that was in this stadium tonight, and anybody who was at one of the various watch parties that were around the city, you know.
Shout out to the people in LA that were up at 3 a.m. at Casa last night. I didn't even see that happening, but that was cool. All right, on the other end of the predictability scale,
yes,
we have Roki Sasaki, who, you know what?
Shotgun Roki.
I mean, we were talking about this during the game. It's like he's a shotgun kind of pitcher in every sense of the word, because one, it's explosive when the ball's coming out of his hand, right? Like, it was actually fascinating to watch the start of this game. He comes out, he looked kind of nervous. They play this just like ridiculous hype video on the scoreboard minutes before he takes the mound about how he's the best young pitcher ever. He's Darvish, Ohtani, and Yamamoto rolled into one. Like, I think you were jealous of just the kind of hyperboles they were throwing at this guy. But he comes out, he pumps 100, 100, 100, 101. He snaps off a couple splitters. He gets out of the first inning unscathed, and it's like, okay, this looks really good. And then suddenly the command goes away. He's missing arm side. He's putting guys on base. But it was all just kind of like fascinating, right? And the good news for the Dodgers and for him is that he got out of the danger. He was able to get out of the second inning on a double play. He only gave up 1 run in the third, even though he walked the bases loaded and then walked in a run and was behind in the count basically all night long. But the key moment for him in his start was at the end of that third inning with the bases loaded and 1 out. He's able to strike out Michael Busch with good fastball command and then strike out Matt Shaw with a couple sliders, which is a pitch we talked about could be really important for him this year, trying to adjust to the big leagues and have a third weapon to go to. I mean, what stood out to you just about like the spectacle of seeing him on the mound, seeing him here, and what you can take away from this as it pertains to the rest of his rookie season?
I mean, yeah, I don't know how this is going to go, right? I don't know if he's going to be Doug Gooden or Bobby Miller, or just kind of someone that kind of bounces in between. But whatever it is, it's just fun to watch, right? I mean, and I don't think I'm just saying this because I've been following this kid for a while or whatever. I really think, and again, he's right. He's got like an interesting, like nice, smooth delivery. Again, like you said, it's explosive. It's just he's really interesting to watch. I can't really.
He's grunting out there.
I would honestly, like I would, and I know I'm gonna catch. I can't. All the words that are coming are all bad words. So whatever. You guys can kind of figure it out. I know I'll take some flack for this.
like cuss words.
I know I'll take some flack for this. But I would rather watch him right now at least than like any player in baseball, and that includes Ohtani. Like I have not been this interested.
What did we just spend the first 10 minutes of the show talking about?
Well, I know that's like incredible too, whatever. But like in terms of just, I don't know. Like my eyes just kind of go to him in the way. Like I haven't watched the last time I was like this engaged in like a player's like every movement was Puig. And I'm not saying this as any kind of character judgment on Roki Sasaki, who by all accounts is a very soft-spoken, quiet, nice young man who's overcome great tragedy in his life.
That's true. You can read about it in the LA Times.
You can read about it in the LA Times. But it was kind of like when Puig came up, it was kind of like that, right? It's kind of, you didn't know what was going to happen. this just kind of this
Super-
otherworldly athlete, you know, and that's the thing. I mean, with Sasaki, you look at that high kick delivery. Now, we did see one issue, right? Is that like he's slow to the plate, man gets on first, they are going to run. I mean, this is just the beginning of this, right? This is against a garbage team, and they stole 2 bases like it was nothing, you know. With a very overpaid manager, I think. But
Whoa. At least not the highest paid anymore.
Not the highest paid. But anyway, I just find him kind of fascinating. Just because the you know, even if he's throwing ball after ball after ball, I mean, he wasn't even getting close, right? I mean, these were not even...
They were non-competitive.
They were non-competitive pitches, you know.
And even Craig Counsell said, right, like we forced him to throw strikes, and when he didn't, like stuff was happening, and he was in danger.
Right. You know, that said, like he kind of back to the shotgun thing, right? A shotgun occasionally hits like
It's
he hits your target, and he would hit these pitches like right. I mean, the first inning he wasn't having command problems, but you know the obviously the pitch to Suzuki to strike him out in the first inning. I mean that thing was like unhittable. And then you know even after those right when he kind of got those 2 punch outs at the end, you know some of those early count pitches even were like no one's gonna hit that, you know. And so to me it just makes it just kind of must see viewing. I think I mean assuming this kind of trends more positively than negatively. I think LA's going to like fall in love with this kid. He's just interesting to watch.
Well, it's kind of like the anti-Yamamoto in some ways, right? Who's like can be so precise and at his best so consistent. I think tonight we got an extreme version of Roki, right? Like this was obviously a very emotional setting. A lot of pressure on him, a lot of adrenaline. If there's a night where your command is going to be kind of wildly inconsistent, like it'll be in these kind of settings. But yeah, this is, I think, a good microcosm of how his season might look, which is like these moments of, it really is like, especially seeing him in person in a real game, you know, in a non-spring training atmosphere, like it was really interesting. I thought the crowd, you know, when he was struggling to get the ball over the plate and was in some tough situations, like they were kind of encouraging him almost. Like I thought that was a really interesting dynamic. And yeah, to me, like the big thing is that in that key spot in the third, it's not just that he got out of it, but he got out of it with the fastball command, showing some real progress with the slider, which up to that point tonight hadn't looked that sharp. And I think kind of showing Dave Roberts and his teammates in the organization, like, look, obviously there's a lot going on tonight, but in the moment where it really mattered at a key juncture in the game, he was able to execute pitches. And I think that's something that for all the different highs and lows he's going to go through this year, if he can do that in big spots and get himself out of some tough spots, like we saw it with Yamamoto early last year in some of the games where he did struggle, but was able to kind of limit damage and avoid really big innings after that first Korea start, that's so important as you're trying to adapt and figure out who you are at the MLB level. And to me, that was the biggest takeaway for me from him tonight.
You know what else was kind of cool this week, I thought, was that our co-host from last night, Dr. Neil Elytraj, really got his due. Taro Abe of the Chunichi newspapers wrote that Dr. Elytraj has hands of God.
I mean, you know.
Not to overlook our colleague, Bill Plaschke.
You just want to keep, turning the knife on Plaschke not being here now?
No, Plaschke has been honored by the LA Press Club Lifetime Achievement Award.
Incredibly. And now,
and I think we got him there, right? He had not won this award
I was gonna say,
until he got on this
debate onto the
that was the last thing
list.
He had to check off.
That's right.
Right?
Because he hadn't done enough TV work or debating or anything like that.
No. Well, Around the Horn is too like lowbrow.
Oh,
you know.
He had to wait intellectual minds with you on Dodger Debate.
I still don't like the title of this show. I really don't. Like,
hey, we dropped the. Are you looking forward to your flight tomorrow?
Oh, it's gonna be so bad.
Dylan's been like very sick this week.
I know.
If you can't tell by like just the waterfalls of sweat that have been coming down the sides of his head, but
I mean, it could just be like I'm just like a pig.
Well, yeah, on that note, it was a fun week here in Tokyo.
It wasn't for me, man. I was just like holed up in my hotel room, like dying while you were out at capybara bars. This guy's like sending me Hey, look at this video. Look at this capybara. King Taco, I'm coming back. Be ready.
Tommy's Burgers on Rampart. We're coming for you next Thursday at midnight because that's when the Dodgers home opener will be. They have their Freeway Series games against the Angels, but they will return home 2-0 and with a lot of, and I think this part's true, like a lot of cool memories for them and the organization, and I think the fan base too, either people that were here or people that were following along with everything that went on over here, because it was a big week. It was an exciting week.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm gonna mention about this place though? That I was like kind of like mildly famous here.
Mister, it's not my work that they like. It's just that I'm around Ohtani.
Well, I do think that's true. I mean, people get famous by, and I was a very good celebrity. I took pictures with everybody. I asked them.
I'm ending the show before Dylan indulges his celebrity anymore. If you see Dylan, do not come up to him. He is not famous. We are just messing around when we do this show, and we can't wait to do it again when we get back to the States.
Oh, by the way, a sure thing, the Dodgers won. They just beat the Cubs. And get a load of Roki Sasaki. If you get a chance to watch him pitch, his first 3 pitches, hundy. And then his next pitch was 99. Then he had a splitter at 82. It feels like he either strikes you out or walks you, but you want to talk about some electric stuff. They may not need Ohtani to pitch this year. Imagine you're in the National League West, and you're like, damn, we're already 2 games behind the Dodgers because nobody else has played except for the Dodgers and the Cubs, but they ended up winning. Ohtani homered in the game. This is just business as usual. But Sasaki has... I'm trying to think who it reminds me of. Yeah, Pong.
Nuke LaLoosh.
Well...
A little Nuke LaLoosh. 3 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 5 walks, and 3 Ks.
Yeah. But as far as... Oh, man, he's got some stuff. But they ended up beating the Cubs. And sometimes you'll get that Japanese player who might be 26 or 27. Ichiro, I think, was 26, 27 when he came over. Sasaki's 23. But that's that pipeline. They spent the money. They outspent everybody for him. And their pitching staff was decimated last year with injuries. And, I mean, you have Clayton Kershaw as a luxury. He could be your pitching coach at $35 million a year. May not need him that much. But I don't think the offense is going to be as good, but they're still going to be the overwhelming favorite to win the World Series. In fact, according to DraftKings, the Dodgers are plus 290. The second favorite, the Braves, are plus 750. The Yankees plus 850. Then it's the Phillies, and then the Mets at plus 1,200. Yes, Paul.
The bases were there's 2 men on for Ohtani, and they intentionally walked Ohtani. Not a good reaction from the local crowd.
No.
佐々木朗希の才能がこれほどまでに称賛されるのは決して偶然ではありません。彼の圧倒的な速球、驚異的なスプリッター、そして成長を続けるピッチングスタイル、これら全てが彼を MLB の未来を担う存在として確立させています。すでに日本のプロ野球で数々の記録を打ち立て、WBC でも世界を驚かせた佐々木。そんな彼がロサンゼルス、ドジャースという名門球団でさらなる飛躍を遂げようとしているのです。このニュースが発表された瞬間、多くの野球ファンが興奮と期待に包まれました。なぜなら、ドジャースは単に資金力があるだけのチームではなく、選手を最高の状態へと導く開発力を持つ球団だからです。過去には大谷翔平を驚かせた育成環境を持ち、常に選手のポテンシャルを最大限に引き出してきました。そんな環境の中で、佐々木朗希がどれほど進化するのか、想像するだけでワクワクしますね。ドジャースの未来を背負うには、佐々木の加入により、ドジャースの投手陣はさらに厚みを増します。すでに MLB トップクラスのローテーションを誇るチームに、新たなスターが加わることで、ワールドシリーズ制覇の可能性は一段と高まるでしょう。彼のデビュー戦では、スタジアム全体がその一球に息をのみ、全米が彼の投球に釘付けになることは間違いありません。そして何より、佐々木はまだ発展途上の選手、現在でも驚異的なパフォーマンスを見せていますが、ドジャースでのトレーニング、 MLB の厳しい環境の中で、さらに進化していくでしょう。もしかすると、数年後には、史上最高の投手として語られる存在になっているかもしれません。野球界を揺るがす最強のスプリッター。現時点でも世界最高の球と称される彼のスプリッター。その破壊力は計り知れず、MLB の打者たちがどのように対応するのかが大きな注目ポイントとなるでしょう。これまで日本の打者ですら苦しめられてきたこのマッキンが、アメリカのスラッガーたちにどれほどの衝撃を与えるのか、想像しただけで鳥肌が立ちます。実際、スカウトや評論家の間では、MLB 史上最高の変化球の一つとも評されており、80点満点のスカウティング評価を受けたのも納得の結果、佐々木のスプリッターが、これからどんな伝説を生み出すのか、楽しみで仕方がありません。MLB の歴史を塗り替える可能性、ここで思い出されるのが、かつてメジャーリーグに衝撃を与えた選手たちです。スティーブン・ストラスバーグ、ポールス・プリンス、そしてもちろん大谷翔平、彼らが登場したとき、それは単なる、新しい選手のデビューではなく、野球の新時代の幕開けでした。そして今、佐々木朗希がその名を連ねることになるのです。特に、彼のポテンシャルで、まだ成長の余地がある、という点で非常に魅力的です。ドジャースの指導の下で、速球のコントロールやスライダーの精度を向上させれば、彼は単なるエース級投手ではなく、MLB を支配するモンスター級の投手へと進化するでしょう。皆さんの期待と予想を聞かせてください。佐々木朗希の MLB デビューは、間違いなく今シーズン最大の話題の一つ。彼の成長と成功を見届けるのは、私たち野球ファンにとっても最高の楽しみです。ここで皆さんに質問です。佐々木朗希は MLB の舞台で、どれほどのインパクトを与えるでしょうか。彼はルーキーイヤーでどんな成績を残すと思いますか。未来のサイヤング賞投手となる可能性は、ぜひコメントで皆さんの意見を聞かせてください。そして、このチャンネルではこれからも佐々木朗希をはじめ、MLB の注目選手や話題をどんどん取り上げていきます。気になる方は、チャンネル登録&高評価を忘れずに、一緒に MLB の未来を見届けましょう。